nervous system is, well, because of the survival, deep survival, hidden deep survival, and celestial circuit being out, I'm guessing that your nervous system just doesn't expect life to be easy. So we're going to stack in the base chakra and the adrenal glands and the sphenoid bone. And hold. Okay, so it's either first or third stage stress. And hold. Okay, so it's third stage stress. So that's been out for a long time is what that tells me. So third stage stress is like chronic fatigue of a chakra. So it's exhausted. It's been exhausted for a long, long time. So just recheck and hold. Okay, so it's either second or balanced. Hold. No, so now it's second stage stress, which means it's overworking to hold it together. More of the same, more of something else. Okay, so we need another essence. Okay, so the flower essence coming up, it's an Aussie bush flower essence called 5 Corners. And 5 Corners, it's one of the ones to do with wanting to go hide in the corner, not be seen. Sometimes it's about personal shame, personal guilt. But the positives, life is getting to know that you are worth it. Okay. Right, so, right, okay, so here you are with Bell's palsy. 5 Corners is about shame of the physical body. So it's about building trust and knowing your own worth and knowing your own beauty and putting yourself out there so that you don't miss out on life. Yeah, so the positives are love and acceptance of yourself, celebration of your own beauty, and joyousness. I am becoming more and more loving and accepting of myself. I am now celebrating my unique strengths and beauty. Yeah, so 4 drops. And once again, this isn't current because I know you're in a really good space now. 4 drops. But you know, you grow up in a family where you've got friction with your dad and then you get married and he does the dirty on you. You know, it sort of just ends up like even though you're in a good place and you don't need a man in your life, that can even be about not trusting half of the world's population. So if it, you know, at the worst case scenario. So we sort of, it's more about owning yourself so that when you do attract someone, you're attracting the right sort of energy, the right sort of person, so that there's less fear in relation to that. Because while there's fear that someone's going to hurt you or someone's going to lie to you or someone's going to ignore you, who are you going to attract if that's your belief system? So it's about letting that belief system go. So now we'll sort of recheck where base chakra's at. Because, you know, there does come a time, as you know, where it's time to go, right, I'm a grown-up. I can say no to people. I can say yes to people. I can choose. I don't have to stay in a bad relationship. I love my puppy dog. Okay, so base, adrenals, sphenoid bone, and hold. Okay, so it's either second or okay, hold. Okay, so we're back down to just working well now. Beautiful. Okay, so back to your notes. So funnily enough, I'm just scanning through your paragraph. What do I want? You know, the loaded question. So the funny thing is, it's mostly locking and saying, yep, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. The two things that we need to work on next are, and once again, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's just sort of your nervous system doesn't quite know how to go about it. So I'm just going to say it as an affirmation. So it's your sentence, but I'm going to manipulate it a little bit to make it an affirmation. I am happy and successful and surround myself with loving people. And hold. And the reason it unlocks isn't because of the people now, it's because of the people in the past who have hurt you. Okay, so don't think you're doing anything wrong in your immediate circle now. So it's because of past stuff. And the other bit that unlocked was the "at least I think so" comment. So, yeah. I am perfectly content in my life. And I enjoy moving forward with my career hopes and goals. And hold. Okay. You're getting cold.
A little.
Yeah, might chuck a blankie on you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now with those two goals online, and once again I'll stack in the inflammation associated with the Bell's palsy again as well, just to remind the body what we're working on. Okay, so where do we need to start? Adrenals, survival, deep survival, hidden. Okay, so there's another hidden deep survival in relation to those affirmations that we stacked in. So, but this one, once again, your body's trying to hide it from you, which is fine. Hold. Just means we can diffuse it and, you know, shimmy it along. Yeah, so where do we need to go? EMC, MMC, PVSS, so the paraventricular survival system. Yeah, I was just thinking, you know, with both Bell's palsy and shingles, there's two products I tend to use a lot. One's called, and I don't know if you'll be able to get them, but I'll just tell you what they are so you can look them up online. They're both Metagenics products. One's Metagenics Neurolift, Obviously, it's an Aussie product, but I'm sure there's stuff like that in the States. And it's got a combination of things that basically regenerate the nervous system and sort of regenerate and calm it, because if the nervous system's hyperactive, then it's just chewing up its own nutrients all the time. So it's a nice little combination because it's got St. John's and other herbs in it, as well as some really nice little nervous system support stuff in there as well. And the other thing is just, an activated B12, so the methyl metagen B12 folate combo. And I know it's been a while since yours, and I know you've been taking supplements, but what I tend to do is, especially when it's bad, so I don't know if you have flare-ups and that sort of thing, but I always sort of recommend on a day when things are bad, imagine that your nervous system is just flat out exhausted on that day. So what you can do in the morning is, say, take 2,000 micrograms of B12, and then 2 hours later, say, take 2 of the NeuroLift. 2 hours later, take 2 of the B12. But you want to stop both of them around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because you don't want them to mess with your sleep. But what you want to do is flood your body with things that regenerate the nerves and detox your nerves as well. Because, once again, I haven't got there yet, it hasn't shown up, but there's a whole bunch of infections that can be linked in with Bell's palsy. So quite often there's viruses that are just lurking in the system, and they can just mess with the nerves. It's like shingles, so it's when the chickenpox virus gets stuck in the spinal cord, and then when we're nervous and run down and exhausted, and like you say, 2019 was a huge year for you. So, it's not a surprise. There's only so much our nervous systems can take. Now, we really needed to just amygdalarize, in relation to the PVSS. So that's sort of clear. We need to go more conscious. Okay. So let's check the corpus callosum in the clear. This connects the two sides of the brain. And hold out. Okay. So when it unlocks, it means there's just less than 50% connections going from left to right sides of the brain. It's one of those things that holding those ESR points, the emotional stress release points on your forehead, even hand on the forehead, brings the blood to the frontal cortex. So it helps to reconnect that logical and creative sides of the brain. And even when you're meditating, holding one hand on the front, one hand on the back, just helps to remind the unconscious brain that the conscious brain wants to help out as well. Okay, so corpus callosum. And hold. And then one of the main things that shuts down the corpus callosum is trust and trust issues. And hold. Yeah, right. Interesting. So we hit trust and trust issues, and your throat chakra just closed up. So I imagine in the past it's been, like you said, you're getting better at, at speaking, but then it sounds like you're complaining. It gets... I think that is a real challenge, especially as women. It's sort of because there's that potential for discussing everything, and some people just aren't up for that. But anyway, so the throat chakra, it's that as soon as that one shows up, it's about having been shut down with speaking your truth at some stage in your life. So then when you're worrying, part of your brain is worrying every time you say anything. Am I going to hurt anyone? Am I going to upset anyone? Am I going to say the wrong thing? So the throat chakra links in with the hyoid bone in here, as well as the parietal bones on the top of the head. And hold. Okay. And hold. Okay, so you've done a fair bit of work on that because it's only in first stage stress. So that's only minor. Oh, right. So now this is a heavy emotion, but what's showing up in there is that because of what happened with your dad and you trying to reach out and him not coming back, there was part of your little nervous system, I'm sure this little part was, 5-10 years old, felt ashamed that you weren't worthy, that he wasn't getting back to you. So, and also the fact that your hubby was a, turd. There's like it's like you've taken that on as your stuff. That's not your stuff. That's your dad's stuff. That's your ex's stuff. It's not yours. So when other people behave badly towards us, that's on them. That's not on you. And depending on how they try to gaslight you, so maybe, anyway, so sometimes they try to gaslight you so you feel you were somehow to blame. It doesn't matter. It's not on you. When people behave badly, that's on them. Yeah, right. It's quite, it must have been hard for you speaking your truth. Because there's some jammed energy in there. And in relation to that, there's some anger from the past. Anger's better than shame, by the way. Okay. And I think part of it is when we're good human beings, you don't want to feel angry. You feel bad when you feel angry. But anger is an emotion like anything else, and it deserves to be felt. So it doesn't mean you're going to go out and hurt anybody. It's just about feeling it so that you make better choices next time. So who knows? Because a lot of people, when they're in a marriage that isn't working, they just stay in there and they stay in there. And then by the time they leave, it's sort of like, oh God, I knew something was wrong 3 years ago, but I, had to. Doesn't matter. That's not you anymore. You're in a good space now. So next time you're in a relationship, you're going to choose. Choose whether you stay, choose whether you go, because you don't want to do that again. It's boring. Life is meant to be lived. Nice. Okay, so in relation to accepting love, in relation to accepting kindness, in relation to finding that soul connection. I know it's not a priority, just throwing it in there. Good. I am happy, successful. I am happy and successful and surround myself with loving people. Hold. I am perfectly content. Hold. I let go of any and all struggles of the past. Hold. happy being me. Beautiful. Now I just want to check a couple of little infections and things just to see if there's anything we need to go into with the immune system. Okay, so there's like a dozen bugs that are known to be linked in with Bell's palsy, and there's another dozen or so in health conditions that are linked in. But the two things showing up are to do with toxicity and trauma. So the trauma could be any of the stuff we've already been chatting about. So I'm going to ask the immune system specifically in relation to trauma and toxicity, because that could be a combination of lots of things as well. So, because when you've got thyroid stuff, and I don't know whether you've got Hashimoto's or Graves or whatever, but certainly if it's a sluggish thyroid, even the medication doesn't necessarily do everything the thyroid. So what that does, the medication helps to raise your TSH or balance your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone, so it's within the range that the doctors want it to be in. As women, our TSH, we always feel better when it's about 1.8, 1.9. So just to give you a number. But we still, about 20% of women don't convert the T4 to T3 easily without iodine, selenium, manganese, magnesium. You know, that there's a whole bunch of cofactors that help to convert T4 to T3. Once again, the product that I use in Australia is called Thyroid Balance. It's a metagenic product. It's got all the cofactors in it. So it helps to convert your T4 to T3. So once again, check out the ingredients and then sort of see if there's something you can get similar to that, because I know there's metagenics in America as well. So yeah, you're in Texas, aren't you? So yeah, so basically there's a conversion issue with some people, and that can link in with toxicity. So part of the whole thyroid is that it has an effect on every body organ. So there's nothing in the body that happens without the thyroid functioning well. So when it's not functioning well, our liver can be sluggish, our kidneys can be sluggish, our detox can be sluggish, our immune system can be sluggish. And as a very general rule, when we're running on adrenaline, the thyroid slows down. So because you're not meant to feel happy, safe and well if the tiger's about to attack. So your adrenals, if they go, your thyroid goes, I don't need to be, calm and happy and things working well over here. So let's ask the immune system in relation to any and all trauma. And hold, yeah, hold. Okay. So any and all old trauma. So you've heard of the ACEs study, Adverse Childhood Events Study. So it basically, there's a lot of research that goes on since that. The study's now like 30 years old, and they've done a lot of generational work with people to find out when there's trauma in childhood, what it does to us as adults. So it's more just amazing, when we get to our 30s, 40s, 50s without major disease if we've had a traumatic childhood. Thank God for your grandparents. Okay, so in relation to trauma, hold, and in relation to toxicity, and hold. Okay. So of course, trauma and toxicity could be because of any viral bacteria, the sort of things that are linked. I'll just sort of, because we're running out of time, but because maybe we can do a follow-up for, some of the other things if any of this goes ding, ding, ding. So the infections known to be linked in with Bell's palsy are things like anything in the herpes family, herpes simplex, herpes zoster, mononucleosis, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, adenovirus, respiratory illnesses, rubella, German measles, mumps virus, influenza B, Coxsackie virus, the hand, foot, mouth disease. And then of course traumas, tooth extractions, all sorts of things. Okay, so I just want to go back and just double check the adrenals and hold, and the thyroid, hold back, and hold back, and the immune system. Okay. But yeah, check out a few of those supplements that I mentioned throughout the balance. So Thyro Balance, Neurolift, Metagen, B12 folate, or the highly bioactive forms of the B12 and folate, because they really help the MTHFR gene. And I'll upload this, and I'll see you on the flip side. Oops.
It's just me.